Have you ever wondered about the dark side of multinational companies? Let's take a look at Shell's operations in Nigeria. The multinational oil giant, Shell, has had a significant presence in Nigeria for decades. Yet this presence hasn't come without controversy. Criticism has been rife, particularly concerning environmental damage and human rights abuses. Accusations of oil spills, deforestation and pollution have been levied against the company, causing devastation to Nigeria's diverse and delicate ecosystems. But the allegations don't stop there. There have also been reports of human rights abuses, claims of forced displacement, and even complicity in violent crackdowns by local authorities have cast a long shadow over Shell's Nigerian operations. These issues have sparked protests and legal battles, highlighting the need for greater corporate responsibility. It's a harsh reality that even in today's world, such exploitation exists. Moving from Africa to America, have you heard about the destruction of a prosperous African-American community in Tulsa, Oklahoma? This is the story of the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre, a dark chapter in American history. Tulsa was home to a thriving African-American community known as the Black Wall Street. This was a beacon of prosperity and success, where African Americans had built a self-sustaining economy, complete with businesses, banks and homes. However, over a 2-day period, this flourishing community was razed to the ground by an angry white mob. The mob, fueled by racial resentment and economic envy, set fire to homes and businesses, leaving the once thriving district in ruins. The massacre resulted in the death of hundreds of African Americans and the displacement of thousands more. This was more than just an attack on property. It was an assault on black prosperity and autonomy. A tragic incident that reminds us of the racial tensions that have existed in our society. From America, let's travel to China. Have you heard about Mao Zedong's disastrous economic and social campaign, The Great Leap Forward? This ambitious project, launched in the late 50s, was aimed at rapidly transforming China from an agrarian economy into a socialist society through rapid industrialization and collectivization. However, the results were far from the utopian vision Mao had heralded. The aggressive push for steel production led to deforestation and soil erosion, disrupting agricultural productivity. Mismanagement and unrealistic quotas led to widespread famine, with the government's reluctance to seek international aid exacerbating the situation. The Great Famine, as it's now known, lasted from 1959 to 1961. It is estimated that tens of millions of people lost their lives during this period, making it one of the deadliest man-made disasters in history. This tragic event serves as a stark reminder of how political ideologies can result in human suffering. Next, let's delve into the brutal colonization of the Congo Free State by King Leopold II of Belgium. This period, from the late 19th century to the early 20th, is a chilling tale of ruthless exploitation and inhumanity. Leopold II, driven by a voracious appetite for wealth, turned the Congo into his personal fiefdom. He imposed a regime of forced labor, compelling the Congolese people to harvest rubber, ivory and other resources. Those who failed to meet his unreasonable quotas often faced brutal punishment or even death. The atrocities committed during this period were not just physical, but psychological. The Congolese were stripped of their dignity, their freedom, and their lives. It's estimated that millions perished under Leopold's rule, a testament to the horrific scale of his tyranny. This was not colonization. It was a systematic and cold-blooded exploitation of a people and their land. A dark chapter in human history that should never be forgotten. Have you ever heard of a gruesome incident in medieval France involving decapitated heads? A tale of terror unfolds in the 12th century, with a man named Renaud de Castillon at its centre. This nobleman, known for his courage and cunning, was also infamous for his ruthlessness. The tale takes a dark turn when Renaud de Castillon, accused of a heinous crime, became a figure of dread and horror. It is said that he decapitated several of his prisoners, a horrifying act in itself, but what followed was even more macabre. He presented these severed heads to the king, an act that sent shivers down the spine of the kingdom. This chilling incident, a stark reminder of the brutality that marked those times, paints a vivid picture of the lengths people could go to demonstrate power and instill fear. a chilling tale that reminds us of the brutality of the past. Let's travel back to America, this time to Detroit in 1935. The city is in the throes of the Great Depression, but another more insidious issue is brewing beneath the surface. The federal government decides to conduct a study known as the Detroit Geographic Expedition. The objective? To delve into the living conditions of African Americans in the Motor City. Now imagine a city divided not by walls or rivers, but by an invisible line of racial segregation. This is the Detroit of 1935. The African American community, concentrated in neighborhoods like Black Bottom and Paradise Valley, face systemic racism and inequality, manifesting in impoverished conditions, subpar housing, and limited access to quality education and healthcare. The government study unearths these grim realities. African Americans are found to be living in overcrowded houses, often lacking basic amenities like indoor plumbing. Many are unemployed or underemployed, stuck in low-paying jobs with no room for advancement. Their children attend overcrowded schools, where resources are spread thin and opportunities for success are few and far between. But the Detroit Geographic Expedition does more than just expose these disparities. It also highlights the resilience and strength of Detroit's African American community. Despite the barriers set against them, they create thriving cultural hubs, rich in music, art, and entrepreneurship. Jazz clubs, churches, and black-owned businesses become the lifeblood of these neighborhoods, offering hope amidst the hardship. Yet the study's findings are a stark reminder of the systemic racism deeply ingrained in American society. They expose how racial inequality is not an accident, but a product of deliberate policies and practices that disadvantage one group while benefiting another. In the end, the Detroit Geographic Expedition serves as a stark reminder of America's racial past. It's a sobering study that puts a spotlight on the struggles of African Americans in Detroit, but also on their resilience and determination to overcome. A study that revealed the harsh realities of racial inequality in America. This is the legacy of the Detroit Geographic Expedition, a snapshot of a time and place that continues to resonate in our present day. Have you ever heard of the term War of the Insane? It's a phrase that encapsulates a unique aspect of history, often used to describe conflicts involving those grappling with mental illness. Throughout time, these individuals have sometimes found themselves at the heart of violence and turmoil, their struggles amplified by the chaos of war. Consider the battles of the past, where the mentally ill were not just casualties but active participants. These are instances where illness and conflict intersected, creating a complex tapestry of human experience. From the trenches of the world wars to the violent upheavals of revolution, the mentally ill have been present, their stories often lost amidst the broader narratives. These battles, these wars of the insane, serve as stark reminders of the challenges faced by the mentally ill. They highlight the necessity for understanding, compassion, and support for these individuals. A term that reminds us of the often overlooked struggles of the mentally ill. Let's move back to Nigeria and discuss a notorious cult, the Black Axe. The Black Axe cult, also known as the Neo-Black movement of Africa, has a dark reputation that stretches far and wide. Emerging in the 1970s as a student fraternity, it has since morphed into a feared criminal syndicate. Its activities span the spectrum of crime, from drug trafficking and human trafficking to acts of violence. Imagine an organization that began as a champion for social change now stands as a symbol of societal decay. The Black Axe operates with a chilling efficiency, its influence reaching into the corridors of power and the underbelly of society. The cult's involvement in human trafficking is particularly distressing. Men, women and children are forcibly made pawns in a dangerous game, their lives bartered for profit. Violence, too, is a frequent companion of the Black Axe, used to maintain control and instill fear. A reminder of the dangers that lurk in the shadows of society. Finally, let's explore the Bantu expansion, a significant migration in African history. A journey that commenced around 2,000 years ago, it was driven by Bantu-speaking peoples. Originating from the region that is now Cameroon and Nigeria in West Africa, these communities set out on an incredible journey that spanned across the African continent. The Bantu expansion wasn't a singular event, but a series of migrations spreading over centuries. The Bantu-speaking peoples took their languages, agricultural knowledge, and ironworking skills along with them. As they moved into different regions, they interacted with the indigenous populations, influencing the local cultures significantly. The ripple effect of this migration is immense. Today, Bantu languages are spoken by more than 300 million people across sub-Saharan Africa. From Swahili in East Africa to Zulu in South Africa, the linguistic and cultural impact of the Bantu expansion is undeniable. A migration that shaped the cultural and linguistic landscape of Africa.